For most, it was a bad luck, but for Andrés Escobar, it was his death sentence. And right after that, he decided to go home, despite several advice from his teammates against his decision to go back. And that was the end of the footballer, nicknamed the gentleman. One goal, one mistake, and a tragedy that shocked the world of football. This is the story of Andrés Escobar, a man remembered not for his failure, but for his grace, his dignity, and the price he paid for the game he loved. Andrés Escobar wasn't just another footballer. He was a leader, a role model, and an icon of Colombian football. But his tragic death in 1994 revealed the dangerous intersection of sports, politics, and crime in Colombia at the time. Stay with me as we uncover Escobar's journey, from his rise as a defender in Medellin to the hope he's carried for his country, the moment that defined his fate, and the legacy he left behind. Born in Medellin in 1967, Escobar grew up in a modest family. Whilst many around him were drawn into the violence of the drug war, Escobar found a refuge in football. He was calm, disciplined, and deeply religious, traits that earned him respect from teammates even as a teenager. At 19, he made his professional debut with Atlético Nacional, quickly becoming one of Colombia's brightest young defenders. Escobar wasn't known for being flashy or aggressive. Instead, he played with elegance. Reporters called him El Caballero de Football, which translates in English as the gentleman of football. At Atlético Nacional, he achieved what many thought to be impossible, winning the 1989 Copa Libertadores, the first Colombian club to ever done so, and with him as a youngster. This cemented his reputation as a young defender who could bring calm and leadership under pressure. The early 90s were Colombia's golden era in football, alongside stars like Carlos Valderrama, Freddy Rincon, and Faustino Asprilla. Escobar became a part of the squad that dominated South American football. In 1993, Colombia delivered a 5-0 stunning scoreline against Argentina in Buenos Aires. Many football fans began to call the Colombian national team the dark horse contenders to win the 1994 World Cup. But behind the celebrations, Colombia was a country under the shadow of violence. Drug cartels had deep ties to football, funding teams, fixing matches, and putting pressure on players. But for the national team, the World Cup was not just a pride. It was about proving Colombia's place on the global stage, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. Colombia entered the tournament full of hope, but things quickly unraveled. They lost their opening game to Romania, putting them in a must-win situation against the United States, the host nation. On June 22nd, 1994, in front of a packed stadium in Los Angeles, Andrés Escobar stretched to block a cross and accidentally deflected the ball into his own nets. Andrés Escobar has scored an own goal. The match ended 2-1 in favor of the United States, the host nation. Colombia was eventually eliminated despite winning their final game 2-0 against Switzerland. For most, it was a bad luck, but for Andrés Escobar, it was his death sentence. After Colombia's elimination from the 1994 World Cup, Andrés Escobar decided to stay strong, and these are his words he uttered to the public, and eventually these words became his final words to the public. This is what Andrés Escobar said: life doesn't end here, we have to go on. Life cannot end here. No matter how difficult, we must stand back up. We only have two options: either we allow anger to paralyze us and the violence continues, or we overcome and try our best to help others. We will see each other again soon, because life doesn't end here. These were the last words of Andrés Escobar to the public after their elimination from the 1994 World Cup. And right after that, he decided to go home, despite several advice from his teammates against his decision to go back to Colombia. Now, after Andrés Escobar returning to Medellin, Escobar tried to move forward. He tried to get away from the own goal and the other issues that came with it. And so on July 2nd, 1994, just some few days after Colombia's elimination, he went out to a local nightclub with his friends. And that night, guess what? He was confronted by some angry fans over the own goal he scored. The argument escalated despite Andrés Escobar doing everything he could to avoid this trouble by leaving the nightclub into his car and then making an attempt to drive home safely. These guys followed Andrés Escobar and shot him outside the nightclub. In fact, Andrés Escobar was shot 6 times. Yes, you heard me right. 6 times, and that was the end of the footballer, nicknamed the gentleman. The man who tried to avoid trouble, the man who tried to stay gentle to the best of his strength, was just 27 years old. A man who had his football career to explore and who had the chance to bring joy to football loving fans around the world. His life was just cut short tragically like that. His death sent shock waves across the world. Fans, players, and the entire nation of Colombia mourn the loss of a man who represented everything good about football. But despite this, he left a legacy. Even decades later, Andrés Escobar is remembered as a symbol of dignity and respect in the game. His story serves as a powerful reminder that football should unite us and not divide us, and that no player should ever pay such price for the sports they love. In Medellin, a memorial still stands in his honor, and to this day, fans call him the gentleman. Andrés Escobar's story is heartbreaking, but his legacy continues to inspire us. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and remember, football is more than just a game. It's about humility, respect, and love for the sport.